Good evening, everyone, and welcome to an evening with Dylan on this Whatever Wednesday. Just doing something a little different this week. I have a bit of a backlog of Lego that I've been itching to get to, and so I just wanted to get a move on with that and see how things were going to go. So you can see, oops, we got a bit of a mess. And just move me. There we go. Bit of a mess on the desk, and we're going to move it out of the road so that we can get started on our build. And I just got to reach the cable out of the road. I just realized that I moved stuff around on the desk and then didn't actually plan for doing one of these. So I sort of suddenly changed my mind and things went a little haywire. Alright, so first things first, I'll show you the set that we're going to be working on today. And let's see if I can get this tip a little bit higher. Yoink, this way and up. Close enough. Alright. Yeah, a little bit more of me than I originally intended, but hey, it happens. You can't always help what you look like. Alright, so, first to say, the set we'll be doing this evening, it's hard to show a little on camera, but this is a version of, this is, let's turn off this background for a second, and hide the instructions for a second. There you go. So we're going to be doing the Lego Hogwarts Hospital Wing this evening, just for something a bit different. Next week we'll do something completely different in this time slot, but for now we're going to be doing this one. So, first things first I need to do, of course, obviously, is open the box and see where we go with that. If the music's a little too loud or things get kind of annoying, just please do let me know. This setup is a bit of an experiment. Yeah, hello biggest fan Lyric, welcome to the evening. So you popped in on a Lego night. And if I can actually get this thing open, we can proceed. There we go. Alright. I'm not too fussed about keeping boxes. I'm not that box keeping type. I just keep the Lego. Now, I mean, if I was a parent keeping my kids' Lego boxes when they get tired of it, sure, but that's not where I'm at. Okay, so we have, let's find, there's bag one. And we will actually be cutting off some of the stuff you see in the background fairly quickly here. See, and there's our manual, which we won't actually be using.
Oh, hello there!
And let's go with the close this, oops, that one up. So to move things around a little bit. Double audio, okay. So let's go properties. Come on. Okay, capture audio only. Let's see if I can find... Oh, I know what's doing it. Properties. We're going to mute that one. And if I can find the Lego cam. Don't have it listed, so hopefully it should not be bugging us as well. Alright, any better? Excellent. Yeah, so it looked like my phone cam that I've moved down to the bottom was set up differently. I have a different cam that sits on top of my computer, but I wanted to go with the lower one this evening because the other one, so when I did one of these Lego things, it saw an awful lot of the top of my head. So this time I figured I would go with a lower down camera so that it's easier for me to talk to while I'm doing Lego stuff in front. So you get a bit up the nose when I sit up straight. Apologies for that. That does happen. Okay, so we've got the booklet, but I'm actually going to set that aside because we're going to use the digital one. And let's see if there's anything else I need in here. No. So I'm just going to leave the other bags in the box. And turn my background back on so that I don't have to look quite so self-conscious. There we go. Now let's get our instructions going. So as you can see there, we've got... Oops, and present. There we go. So we've got the Lego set right on screen. Now if I can remember to actually change the page as we go, that would help. This is part of why I'm putting away my other book, so that we can actually make sure that we use the ones on screen. Oh yeah, I've got the 3D model ones available on my iPad, but it's not as easy to show on screen. So Lyric managed to catch the biggest fan. Benson managed to catch the I was here first. Yeah, I can assume that would probably make things a little easier. No idea why. That should not have been the case, but... Alright, so let's start by opening, and apologies for all the noisy extra rattles and stuff. It's the nature of the desk space I'm using. Now, in order to stay central, I'm just going to tip this up a little bit more. Not a huge fan of that, but, you know, it is what it is. Hi, to you too. Probably because I was late, as usual. Alright. That's not ideal, but hey, it is. Suspense and... No, that's fine. That's fine. It's good, it's all good. He who is late must bring cookies? Yeah, right. Okay. Do I have... Oops. I've got a lot of auto stuff going on and windows that don't want to move when I want them to. Alright. There we go. Let's see. This one. Oh, nope, not doing that. Too much me. Too much me. Apologize in advance. Okay, there we go. So now I can see we got that. We're going to open her up and get going. ASMR fail, but bag one down on the floor. Yeah, I can imagine that would be tempting to go fast, but on the other hand, I can also see why you might not want to. Now we've got a whole bunch of other junk bits that are off to the side, but the junk I'm trying to keep out of the road so that I don't mix up my two sets, because I've got the tail end of one that we were doing on stream to finish up, the sort of few minutes at a time deal, and I don't always sort Lego. I mean, okay, you guys have seen me always sort Lego, but I don't always sort Lego really carefully. Sometimes, as I was reading the other day, people recommend that you can actually sort your Lego by shape more so than color. And when you sort them by shape rather than color, particularly in big bins, it actually is quite helpful, because then you can go, I want the red one of whatever that is. And the colors will stick out to you, so it's easier to find. Whereas if you're looking in a whole bin full of, say, tan, and you're looking for the right shape, then sometimes it can be a little easy to overlook the shape that you're looking, or the shape you're looking for, and spend quite a lot more time digging around. So it doesn't work well in terms of storing Lego. So the bins that we've got for our kids are all sorted by color, because it was just that much easier to store it. Okay, I've got 3 parts of a Ron Weasley, but I have not got the legs yet, so we're not going to build him until we find that. And let's speed through this a little bit more. Oh, there's his legs. So Ron has a busted leg. Not busted, but as in he broke his leg. It was the injury sustained from Sirius Black in dog form, attempting to drag him into a hole because he wanted the rat so bad that it made him go kind of crazy. I mean, I would be a little bit nuts too if I'd been, if I'd been made to more or less hide as a dog for multiple years, then yeah, I'd probably go a little off the deep end too, and not necessarily be super duper careful when I finally get that chance to go after the one person who has basically the thing that has caused all my misery for years. So I could totally see that Sirius would love to go after that, because, I mean, it wasn't like he could just tell anybody what the issue was. Nobody would believe him. They'd think he's crazy and send him back to Azkaban. So as for weird redeems, on this stream, even though things are a little different, the usual mini-games do apply, so things like Hangman applies, and we have the World of Harry Potter trivia, and we've got the, what's the word? The drops are in there, the Plinkos are in there. Lyric found the little parachutes. There we go. So we are ready to start. Alright, so those all do apply as usual. The only things we can't do on here, which would make no sense whatsoever, and I'm actually just going to shut it down. It occurred to me I still had the Lego 5 minutes enabled, which is kind of stupid when you're in the middle of doing a Lego build. Let's disable that one. Alright. Let's see, what else do I have? Actions. 8 timers. Okay, perfect. I don't need any Minecraft shoutouts and timers and whatnot going on. That's not going to make any sense at all. Alrighty, so first and foremost, let's go back, and they want us to build Ron. Now, I have a lot of this little stuff. I guess I should open that. I don't really want to. There's a lot of small junk that they put in the tiny bags here, and once again, I don't necessarily agree with their selections on where they go. I will, once again, not be using the wands, simply because they get lost, and there's no point in Ron having a wand when he's like sitting in the hospital. That just does not make sense. So, it'll go into the wand box, right? You think I have just a few. So, let's get rid of the sprue. Where did FSS say? Perfect. Thank you very much, Benson, for shutting those timers down. That really does help. They must have fired off one of them. That doesn't help me much. All right. Wand away. Okay. And so we can build Mr. Ron, Mr. Weasley, sorry. And we have a lot of windows, because, I mean, hospital wings will do that. All right. So this one's kind of interesting because they've got, Ron has, it's not showing too well. Ron's got rips and tears in his shirt. I like that one. On both sides, he's got rips and tears. And on one side, he's very unimpressed. I'll show you that one. Oh, come on, face. There we go. So he's very unimpressed. You can see the rips and tears. And on the back side, he's in a better mood. So I think being in the hospital wing, I'll leave him kind of unimpressed. I think that's probably a good one for being in a hospital bed. And then you can see he's got the two-tone legs because he's got a cast on his leg. I don't know if a dog Sirius's size would actually be able to break a leg like that, but I would not be surprised. All right, Lego, please, down here. Ooh. Well, come on, camera, refocus, please. Okay, we'll get here. Let's try and properties. Turn it down. There we go. Force in all situations. All right. So first things, we're going to start with one of these little squares. And you're going to see a bit of a strange angle because I'm unable to do this at the same angle it's showing in the manual with the camera on this side. The other side wasn't quite so bad, but now I've switched it from left to right, so everything's a little different than it was before. Okay, so we're starting out with hair all over the mat. Sorry about that. And then we've got wedge shapes. A lot of stuff there. And a straight one in the middle, pretty basic. Another wedge on the other side. If I go sideways, actually, that would help. Alright. Then they've got some hinge stuff right off the bat, which is kind of interesting because I'm not used to them doing hinges quite this early. So that's a nice shift. What made me change over to Lego this week was, as I said, I have a bit of a backlog. One of the things that Fantastic Sherlock Fox loves to spell me with, and I will not argue because I love Lego, is I was getting a Lego set every time that Dadcraft or Dadcraft's patron servers had a stream weekend. So sort of a survivor award, I guess you could say, which I quite liked. You know, no arguments there at all, but I definitely had a few. And then, of course, we had our anniversary in September, and I was gifted with 12 Grimmauld Place rather than something else, you know, jewelry or whatever. So I had some backlog pieces, and then I'm trying to remember what we did. I think we did one other stream weekend in there. Oh no, I had birthday, duh. So I had my birthday on Veterans Day or Remembrance Day, and was gifted one of the... Hello, Scotch Tape 72. Welcome in. thank you very much for entertaining my attendance at your stream today. That was appreciated. I still love watching you work. Your style is very appealing to me. Okay. So this afternoon, Wednesdays, I tend to treat them as a whatever Wednesday, which is very much rather literal whatever. It's going to be my Vault Hunters slot in the evening, but understandably, as the new season of Vault Hunters has not begun yet, then I'm switching over to Lego because I absolutely love Lego, particularly Harry Potter Lego. I'm a bit of a Harry Potter nut, I guess is probably a good way of putting it. And so for various different occasions, I've been gifted with multiple different sets, have been itching to build them, and just had no reason to. Normally there's a redeem on my Steam stream where people can redeem channel points for 5 minutes worth of Lego building time, but understandably that's been disabled for this stream because there's no point in having both. So yeah, that's what got me onto this one this evening. I've just been really, really itching to build some of these. The other part of it is, of course, that it's coming in towards the Christmas season. And so... Yep. Well, actually, you and Lyric would probably get along well, too. I don't think he's particularly a Star Wars guy, but his latest build, I'd leave it to him to tell you more details, but he actually managed... I shouldn't say managed. He smartly saved up for the collector's set of the Titanic. And he's been into some of the speed builds as well, the collectible cars. So, yeah, you're not the only Lego fan here. Actually, sometimes we will raid out to a channel called the Local Brick Shop. Fantastic Sherlock Fox. Unfortunately, you mistyped again. Let's see if this one works. Maybe not. Okay, let's try this. Do you actually print to chat? Haha. Do I slash shout out? Yee. Yeah, so Scotch Tape 72 is slash Scotch Tape, or sorry, slash Scotch Tape, wow, slash shoutout space Scotch Tape 72. And I know that I have a lot of stuff, it's rating over top of things. I actually need to go through. Oh, whoops, wrong one. Sorry, didn't mean to do that. Where am I here? This one. Properties. We need to get ourselves a background color that is much more notable. Nope, not that. Outline. There we go. Outline select color black. We get 3 pixels. Oop. Okay, and we're gonna go with select color black. That'll do for now. It's not ideal, but it does the trick. Properties. Let's do this again. Outline, color, black. Okay. Let's make that one a little bit thicker. So 3, 4, 5. It's not perfect, but it'll help out a little bit. And where's this one? 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. So normally what you'd see, let's find something blank. Ooh, can't even think of anything blank around here at the moment. There we go. There's paper. So normally what you'd see was something a little more like that. It's not perfect, but it's better than we've got right now with white on everything else. Yep, so that's part of it, and then it also has to teach itself to disappear automatically, and that's the part where my system's being a little bit dumb. So we need to turn this one back off again. There we go. All right, let's go back to Lego and get rolling. So we've got this piece in the center. I'm just going to finish off the little legs in the middle here. Cool. I really hope you do manage to be an affiliate. Which, as I mentioned a little bit in your stream, that begins a bit of the work. And the reason I say that is affiliate is so much fun to be able to use some of the toys like channel points and stuff to do fun things with. But then figuring out what you want to do, how you want to do it, and getting that all set up with whatever method you're going to be using to run that system is definitely a huge kettle of fish. Also, eventually you'll be able to get emotes, and figuring out what you want emotes to look like is always a challenge. I'm not finished mine yet because I've got a bunch of free ones that I've dug up that I quite liked, and they seem to be relatively unique. Yay! Dedicated stream nights. Well, that's cool. I will definitely stay tuned for that and see if I can work that into my raid rotation. I would absolutely love to be able to hang out with you some more. So coming home from NAU. Do you mind if I ask what NAU is? I'm not familiar with that one. Right. It could be a university, which would make sense. But me being aware of American universities is not common. Okay, starting at this end, I need doubles. All of these. Oh, I see. Okay, so you're doing Lena Hunn's Vault Hunters server, and then Personal World. Gotcha. Okay. Gotcha. Where I'm at, I'm in Calgary, Canada, so the southern part of the Alberta province, and our universities are like really boring names, like U of C. U of C, great. Or actually, funny enough, we have 3 of them in our city, and so all of them have really lame names. We had college. Actually, we had 2 colleges, and they both got accredited to be universities. So now we have 3 universities up here, but only 1 majorly large campus university. Second one would probably be our, what do you call it, Mount Royal University, but that's just because they got a permission to be accrediting some degrees. They just haven't got a major rep as far as I know yet. Okay, so far it looks like I'm actually managing to keep up with switching the instructions on screen appropriately. One of the things I find interesting, these books are not too bad, but sometimes when you get into scrolling a PDF of the booklet, what happens is that they'll put 2 pages high, and so on the screen where I'm interacting with it, I'm following those instructions, and then I don't always remember to scroll it to the part that I've sized up to show on the actual stream window. Okay, so we've got lots of these little things. Now, I'm going to go zoomy again. This is kind of... Oh, see, there we go. Okay, so and I'd promptly drop it off my hand. Fantastic. So what I do with these little things, when I put them together, I'm kind of fussy about it. Not super bad, and I don't even know if it'll show on here. Yeah, it's not showing very well. You can take a look, and sometimes they'll have like little sprue marks. So right in the center where they've been cut separately. Yeah, so these sorts of things. So what I'll do is with windows or lattices or whatever, I will try and decide which side of it I like better in terms of what's going to show on the outside. And then because these windows are extra deep, then I can put the sprued side on the inside, and the side I liked better would be on the outside, right? And that's just, it's a funny habit I've gotten into. Part of the reason I started doing that is if you look at the clear plastic ones that start, that have the word Lego on them in various places, those clear plastic ones, if you catch, like they're slightly shiny, of course, and then if you catch the light just right, the writing on there will actually not reflect. So it looked really odd to me. There was suddenly a one spot that wasn't shiny like the rest of everything else. And that was kind of annoying. So I just got to the point where I would be always checking the back sides of things and looking for stuff like that. Sometimes I just get lazy about it. And what I mean by that, what I mean by getting lazy about it in that case is that we, where's the word? What I mean by that is sometimes I'll do something and then realize I've put some sort of massive thumbprint on it. Rather than going and bothering to dig out all the cleaners and stuff, I'll just figure out, oh, well, I've got, 12 of these things to work with. Therefore, I shall just go and put the big thumb-printed ones hidden somewhere in the middle so nobody else gets to see it. And that saves me the trouble of having to clean it. Because, I mean, by the time it sits on my shelf for a while, I'm not actually going to have the sets clean anyways. If you're wrapping Christmas presents already, I guess I can't really have much grounds to go with the, I don't even decorate for a few weeks yet, or a couple weeks yet. But on the other hand, if wrapping Christmas presents means that even if they get spotted by the people in the house that you're trying to keep the surprises, like keep the gifts away from, provided they don't touch them, it makes it a lot easier to store things because you don't have to worry about them seeing what the gift is. We're in what I would probably consider box saving season. When things come in from, say, Amazon, or they come in a box when you shop, then those are the parts of the year where. Oh yeah, okay, yeah, you have a special reason for starting early. But the other thing I was thinking too is that we call it box savings. Well, I call it box saving season because as things come in, we start saving shoe boxes, boot boxes, other kinds of weird random boxes. Occasionally we'll get like a fruit crate for something, and then we'll save that from time to time because that allows us to have boxes to mask or obscure what something is as a gift by not having the original box show. So, I mean, I've put things that are already in boxes into other boxes and wrapped that just as a way of masking what the gift is. But the larger the gift, the harder it is to mask because, like when my kids were younger, we got them like Playmobil castles for Christmas. Well, that's great. The thing is that those you can't really put in other boxes because they're just too big. Funniest year was the year that my son was ready to graduate from a toddler bed. Gag wrap. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that the two of you that I know a little of. Yes, I did. I did make that joke. So, that's even funnier. So, Lyric is building the Titanic, and as we've seen in the movie version, J.J. Abrams' movie, of course, everybody talks about how Jack could have fit on the door with the Kate Winslet character, but he didn't, therefore he froze and whatever. You know how that goes. But he was showing me a minifig, and I said, yep, bet you wouldn't fit on a door, and it certainly didn't. James Cameron, thank you. Sorry, J.J. Abrams. Yes. See? Blonde. Don't always remember everything. Used to be better at it. Better at remembering things. I don't think I have excuses. I have stories that I claim would be excuses for it, but yeah. Well, considering that some of those movies should have sunk, yeah. Thanks, fantastic Sherlock Fox. Well, you know, if I'm going to make a bad joke and mess up something, I might as well do it all the way. So it looks like we're making the beds now in this one. And I'm not actually trying to rocket through doing the kit. I think I'm just a little wired. So, just a bit wired. Let's see. We've got step 12 says squish the bottoms together. Put a sheet on the bed. It's a piece of sheet. Yes. There we go. And we'll showcase this up close once I get the top put on. I like that, actually. That's a really good one. Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm not too surprised. We can leave that one on there. I mean, my kids are not 2 years old or something. But I do remember. Yeah, Automod keeps trapping you. I did see it popping up and then disappearing as Fantastic Shockbox took care of it. It turns out that I didn't realize "but" was one of those phrases or words that the system would not like. Autofox. Oh my. Oh my, oh my, oh my. Okay, so it does that, and actually I was razzing Lyric not that long ago about the fact that he used LMAO, which of course was not family friendly, so I politely chided him and said, yeah, we can go with LMBO instead, and then he promptly used it, and wouldn't you know it, the bot grabbed it. I was like, really? Really, bot? Come on, don't you have something better to do? And apparently it didn't. Yeah. Yeah, Automod was really taking Scotch Tape's chat out last night. It doesn't like me, never has, over the fact that I'm really wordy, rather than spamming the chat with a whole bunch of individual sentences. So I'll be a wall of text individual. Unfortunately, that bites back. Are you sure it's the bot? Or does somebody have an itchy timeout finger? And I wouldn't blame them in the slightest sometimes. They haven't had the opportunity to ban anybody or time anybody out in my chat in quite some time. So we have cute little beds. See? Yay! Nice cute little beds. That's true. That's true. And Lyric was promptly timed out by his sister. I find that hilarious. So, in case you guys are curious, Benson and Lyric... Wow. So, Benson and Lyric are related, as you can clearly see. And they've been bugging each other for months and threatening back and forth they were going to time each other out. And of course, Benson's my mod, Lyric is not yet, and so it's kind of amusing to watch the two of them go at it. So we're at box number 2 already, but there's number 1. Box number 2, so I mean bag number 2. So there's number 1. And it looks like we're ready to go to the second one. So I'm just going to set this up across the top. Oh, light back. Wow. Okay, I have to figure out extra lighting. There, that's better. How are we doing for time? Oh, 45 minutes, not bad. Oh, that's bag 3. Gotta find bag 2. He's not impressed, I can tell. No wonder he races you to the who was here first. In case you catch me repeatedly poking my earbuds, I could do a lot of this with just listening to what's coming through on my speakers, but the microphone picks it up sometimes now that I've moved everything around. More so also that, as some of you are already aware, I use, I mentioned it actually last night loosely in Scotch Tape's stream. I use a text-to-speech bot, rather literally, called Twitch Speaker. It's made by the makers, Nate something or other. Anyways, the makers of the streamer.bot bot, and literally that's the web address, is streamer.bot. And the text-to-speech thing right now it's feeding directly into my earbuds, which are also receiving the the audio monitoring for all of the stream, so that when I'm stopping rather randomly mid-sentence, it's probably because I've heard something read to me in text-to-speech and just waiting for it to come all the way through. I'm still getting used to that bit of or the ability to be able to talk over it, but it's quite helpful because when my bot or Oswin is being quite textually noisy in chat, it's very hard for me to keep up with the text and not have it all scroll off the screen, or think that there's something important that I should pause and read when it turns out to be just the bot. So it makes it a little bit easier for me to skip things. Not everybody does this. I gather it's a rather uncommon technique. The experience I've had so far is that relatively few streamers use this technique. So it's more of an experiment right now to see if it's going to keep working for me. It'll be kind of nice because then I can still respond to people, pardon me, when I'm doing something a little bit more high speed, such as when I start getting into Vault Hunters. Well, the funny part about this one is I don't use the TTS that actually plays into stream. So I don't have to be affiliate for this one. What it is actually it's a third-party app, and that's the hiccup with the streamer bot as well, is I've chosen bots that run an app locally on my computer rather than something like Stream Elements. Nothing wrong with the Stream Elements system or Nightbot or any of the other similar ones. I just wanted to have far more control of what it can do than those ones were allowing me. Ex-tech support nerd, so, you know, that's where a lot of that comes from. And by not being able to have that control, it really frustrated me. So I figured, well, okay, I've got a computer right now that can handle it. Therefore, let's see what this bot's like. And the one that I've got it's got a lot of commands you can put together from lines. So what I mean by that is there's actions that the programmers have built in, and then from those actions, you can actually sequence them to make your sort of bigger action. So your sub-actions sequence into your larger action, which you can do all sorts of things. But they've also, for those that are programming inclined, like actually can program, then this bot will accept programming in C#, which means that if you or people you know can program the C# code for you to tell it to do something, go for it. And so you will see people such as David Turner Music and who else have we got? Foxy No Tail. Those are just two of the ones I know that use that bot. I think the local brick shop does as well. Hey Neon, long time no see in here.
Hello?
In a week or so? Neon, I noticed over the course of the summer that you were far more active elsewhere, rather than hanging out in this little corner of the world. And I'm hoping that was just because you were enjoying yourself doing different things and hanging with some of the more, or I should say, some of the less snowbirdy variety of people. Yeah, it definitely is an incentive to learn C#. I can read through a bunch of it, but I don't know how to code it. So I understand enough of it to be able to troubleshoot what it's saying, or if I have to dig into somebody else's code to maybe tell it I need a particular file name or something like that. It's fairly easy to do. But I mean, you'll see all kinds of powerful things. Like if you're watching one of the YouTubers by the name of Nutty, does some really weird stuff with their bot. And then there's a few other ones out there that are actually programming for it. But those are a couple of the names that you guys might be more familiar with, is people like Foxy and stuff. Good. Yeah, I found my Discord collection has exploded recently, but that's partly because I'm looking at expanding my community. Oh, goodness. Fox, are you flailing around again? One of these days you might hurt somebody. You know, in all honesty, Fox is another one who doesn't. Yeah. Well, I mean, it seems like everybody and their dog has one, and I don't have one right now. because one of the things I find is that early on, streamers, when they have their own, it's a ghost town. And so the practicality would make me wonder, is it really just more than clutter for other people unless you start having a regular community? Now I can see I have a reason where I might consider firing one up, because my mods could probably use some joint channels. Well, one of the things I find interesting is there's a gentleman by the name of Griffin Prime, who you're probably well familiar with, Scotch Tape, who decided several years ago, or not several years ago, had met somebody else on Twitch who was also streaming, and they decided to jointly open their... Yeah, so Griff and Casual Carrot share a Discord. And I think that helps because they share a lot of the community, rather than everybody having their own. And so that makes it easier. Yeah, it's Casual Carrot, MC. And they're a Canadian streamer from the East Coast, but they share Discord with Griffin Prime. Yeah, so that's helpful. I don't have one yet. There was a candidate that I thought I might ask if we could consider doing more of the tech stuff, because she's not into the techie side of tweaking things, and as Fantastic Sherlock Fox can tell you, sometimes I can't keep my hands out of that stuff, and half the time cause my own problems. But I was looking at approaching her and seeing if she might want to partner with the Discord, just to keep things hopping. Or, well, I shouldn't say hopping, but less quiet than it is now. Okay, so we've got ourselves Madam... Oh boy, what's her name? I had it on the tip of my tongue and now I can't find it. Oh, hospital lady. It's gonna drive me crazy. Because I'm usually a Harry Potter fan, like in such that I should know these things. But she's got double heads as well. See, with printing on the top and the bottom, which is kind of nice. I think it's Pomfrey, but it's gonna bug me if I forget. Okay, it is Pomfrey after all. Alright, so I'm gonna set these up in the corner. Come on, game. There we go. Alright. So, but it's one of those ones where I don't have Discord, and everybody and their dog had one, and I thought, well, this is kind of dumb because, you know, I don't want mine just to clutter up somebody's Discord application. But part of what's making me reconsider is more that, as I said, my mods could probably use a joint channel here and there to do things. You know, even a back channel of chit-chat while we have a situation like trolling or something going on. Here is, okay, this one. And this piece. There's a sticker. Ooh, stickers! Yay! Where's the sticker page? That's interesting. I don't have a sticker page. Unless it got stuck. That's what I'm wondering. If it fell, or if it got stuck inside the manual. Sometimes that happens too. Nope, we are sticker free. Okay, well. It was this is hard to explain, but it basically was just a hospital chart on this particular one. Yeah. Well, the other thing is it can get expensive, right? Yeah. That's true. And I could probably order a spare one from like Bricklink or something if I really wanted to. All right. So we've got those two. Now, realizing, let's just take one more look. Didn't get stuck in there. It's a fairly small sticker sheet if that's the only thing, so there's a possibility that it could have slipped out. Sure, yep, I've got an 11-year-old, so I totally get it. Hey, Stormy, how goes?
Hello?
Well, I should hope so. I know that sounds funny, Neon, but most of us only have the ability to prime sub to one, unless you have multiple prime accounts, in which case you're luckier than I am. Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. One. Legos! Yeah. Well, this is... That's okay. This is the set that I was thinking about running a second points challenge for, but I wasn't really sure what the timings were going to be like. And at the time I was thinking of running that second point challenge to see if anybody was interested. Maribel Jade on her channel was doing the exact same one in redeemable step-by-step chunks. So that kind of defeated the purpose. You know, I didn't want to do the same one she was doing. Now, I don't think she's still on this one. I think she's onto another one that I've already built. So we're not overlapping. But it's actually kind of odd. I mean, she's got the cosplay interest and the skills to make it happen. I've wanted to do that sort of thing. Her focus is Star Wars, mine would be Potter, but the point is still, there's a lot of things when I'm on her channel that it feels like literally I have to spend effort to get out of her head because she and I are on the same page quite frequently. So when it comes to Lego, we just chuckle over the fact that we're both doing the same sets. Although she'll probably have, you know, Star Wars sets, and that's not something I'm into. But my son, who understandably goes by Star Wars Fan Kid, he'd be into the Star Wars Lego sets. So. Ooh! You made it! You made it straight into the bin! Congratulations! I was actually going to reach out and hit the yay button, but I still haven't managed to get my Stream Deck back in order. Ended up just... That is mildly amusing coming from one of the other guys that I know with one of the longest names. Oh, again. The welcome, I don't know what's going on. The welcome is actually picking up. Okay, let's do this one more time. Let's go live, this, and you are going to properties, streamer bot. Why are you not showing? Okay, well, I can't seem to show you at the moment. Too bad. Sorry about that. Let's see, streamer bot, are you being a pill? There we go. All right, so what we have here really quickly is I'm looking down at the where's it? Welcome in OBS. Okay, so it's supposed to add the target information and then show everything on screen. Visible, visible, visible. Wait 3 seconds. Then exactly the same commands. Hidden, hidden, hidden. But somehow it gets into the visible and then it just barfs. I haven't the foggiest idea why. No idea. So I don't know what that's all about. Oh, and you guys didn't even see that. Well, that's dumb. So yeah, here we are. So long story made short, at the bottom there, we've got the welcome. You probably can't read this because of the text. Do live bot. Let's go this way. Yoink. So you can see the command there. On the right-hand side, we've got a bunch that say visible, visible, visible. And then below that, you've got hidden, hidden, hidden. But it's exactly the same command. It gets down to this 3,000 delay for 3,000 milliseconds, and that's where it just stops. No idea why, because everything else has been literally copy-pasted. And then I just edit the action and choose what I want it to do. I don't know. Yeah, that particular guy was always a bit of a pill anyways. Alright, so back on Lego, I guess. Just, why not? But that's why that is, or not, I shouldn't say why. That is what is getting stuck. And the... and the, oh, if you're into that one, have I got some cartoons for you. I used to follow a webcomic called User Friendly. And User Friendly had a wonderful clue bat. Yep, definitely the clue bat. But the clue bat was a big foam bat used for bashing the clue into people, right? How can you be that stupid, sort of thing. But what went with that was a ridiculously oversized, and I mean idiotically oversized helmet. They make some of the stuff you see at sports games in a stadium look tame by comparison. It's just a webcomic silly thing. But the context of the webcomic was supposed to be some sort of non-existent internet service provider that was talking to the customers. So every once in a while, you'd get people that were really dumb, and their marketing assistant, his name was Steph Murky, and he was an absolute tool. So Steph was definitely worthy of the clue bat on multiple occasions. But then there's a few other ones, actual staffers, that were worthy of it as well, because they did some incredibly stupid things. But you've got your usual crew that can, some can program, and some were really good with the customers, and so on and so forth. So yeah, the major user of the clue bat was actually more or less the tech support version of Zloy, I guess, for lack of a better descriptor. And he always wanted to clue bat people. So there's a whole string of comics about him and his clue bat. But I mean, you can actually buy clue bats on the internet now. If you try and search up clue bat, you can actually get like a baseball bat that's plastic with huge foam section, and it'll say like clue bat down the side. I used to want one of the mouse pads that said that actually had a big circle and said "bang head" here, because there were some days when I worked tech support that it was pretty insane, and you wondered why or how these people had managed to get out of bed in the morning if they couldn't manage to turn their computer on. I mean, okay, I understand, no offense intended to anybody here, but I totally understand if people are not technical savvy. Some are, some aren't. I mean, there's a lot of things that people... Yeah. Yes. Did you really name your kid Bobby Drop Tables? So, if you drop a table in a database, then you're going to blow up the whole thing. So if you did that to a school, it would be nasty. But there are people here that know a lot about fields of that's about the end of it. Or not the end of it, but that's about the way it goes. So when people know things that I don't, definitely power to them, because there's lots of stuff I don't know. But you guys can probably understand that whether it be yourselves, your friends, your extended family, usually our parents are the ones that you go, okay, this thing with a cord on it, with this little light, no, don't look at the light, it might hurt yourself, is called a mouse. I don't care that it doesn't look like a mouse the cat wants, it's a mouse. And then people talk about double clicking on things, and you get, I kid you not, you get people who still pick up the mouse and physically go and tap it on the screen. You go, what? What would ever make you do that? Well, I told you to get double click. No, you're supposed to press the button on the thing twice. What's a button on here? because so many of them now don't actually even have individual buttons anymore. My mouse, as you can see here, has a lovely little, oh, there's her wear mark. So that's where my button is. And I'm forever messing up while I'm playing Minecraft because I press this one in the center, which changes color. Sorry, Fantastic Sherlock Fox. But it changes color in the center. And what that does is changes the sensitivity of it. So that's helpful, but not when I'm in the middle of a battle and I squish it and suddenly becomes less sensitive. The order of rotation is kind of janky. But when I did tech support, I wished I could reach through the phone and sometimes grab people by the collar and give them a really good shake. Yes, it does. It has. I'm trying to reach for something and I want to get over to the mob that's trying to hit me in the face. Just to swipe at them with the axe, nothing too exciting there, but I just can't seem to point the mouse at their face. So one of the things you'll probably note as we move from place to place here, I don't have the instructions huge on the screen. So I do apologize to anyone who might be on a mobile device, especially a telephone, because the instructions are teeny tiny on a telephone. There we go. But you'll notice on the even numbered pages, we've got a little Harry at the bottom of the page, and the little Harry Potter guy is actually showing you the progress of how far we are. So the fact that it spreads onto the second page means that we are only about a quarter and a third of the way through. But we are just over an hour through. So this may be a two session build, which is fine. Depending on how close we are or how itching I am to do it, we'll see when I decide to throw in another stream to make it happen. Alright, so I'm going to put these guys together in pairs on the back side of the window. Oh, it doesn't? Do you think that's because you've got 3 actual boxes of project put together? One per sort of major section of the ship? Because that would make sense. That's a really, really big build. I think you said it was, what, 7,000 pieces or something? I can't remember quite. It sticks in my head because somebody made a joke about it being like about 1,000 pieces per foot of length when you're done, which isn't quite true. Yeah, so it could maybe they don't have a progress bar because there's no real rule on which section you start with. I mean, you could theoretically start in the middle if you felt like it, although it wouldn't be my cup of tea. All right, and then we've got, wow. That must have been an interesting one to bring home. Okay, so we've got little drill bits. Okay, so the little drill pieces go inside some tan sections. Okay, that's actually, when you think about that, that's actually a little bit longer. If you think about, most people haven't seen them, but if you think about like legal paper or legal scaffolding, legal... Yeah, well, longer than the nephew. I don't know about taller than the nephew. I don't think our nephew's only 17 inches now. I think he's probably far more than that. But if you think about it, I mean, 17 inches, 17 and a half inches, it's a little bit longer than a piece of legal paper. So legal length paper, which is the 11 by 17 stuff. Actually, no, it's not. That's, oh, phooey. That's not, 1117 is rather literally 1117. But, 8.5 by 17, sorry. Oh, yes. Yeah, your nephew's face, for sure. I'm looking forward to having this one go back to being, not having the pumpkins and stuff on the corner. The fox is cute. But, yeah. Alerts. Okay. What are we missing? Why is the Plinko staying up? That's interesting. Nope, wrong one. This one. Boink. All right. And then I forgot to put a little piece underneath. I'm really good at this. I put things on, and then I forget to put parts on them. And then, so I'm trying to put it on in like the most stupidly awkward way, because I didn't do it right the first time. Let's just pull that off. It makes sense if I put the little brown, this way, the little brown bit on the bottom the first time. My hands are getting nice and old. Weird. It keeps making me spread out my hands to force it to refocus. I find that interesting and odd. Yeah. Ooh! Hey Brian, how are you doing? I haven't seen you in a while. Welcome in, welcome in. I'm just working on, as you can see here, the Hogwarts hospital wing. And we have not had the joy of your presence for quite some time, and I'm glad to see you had a moment to stop by. I believe it's Wednesday, so I don't know if it's a Dynamite night later on or not. I have not had the opportunity to look at their Discord and find out. I should actually take a look at that. If all those fails, I will ask Benson to go have a look, 'cause I think she's got access to that one as well. Alrighty. So, as I was saying earlier, I have a bit of a backlog of Lego and have been seriously itching to build it. You guys are fantastic in the number of redeems that you guys do. Oh yeah, for sure. You guys are fantastic in the number of redeems you guys were doing on stream. But when we had the time shift for parts of the world that use daylight savings time, unfortunately, it just meant that things weren't quite progressing as fast as my itch to build was looking for. So I figured I should jump in and build something. Also, 'tis the season, if you know, at Christmas or whatever, then having a backlog is great, but I'm not really first in, first out sort of person, but I do like to be able to logically jump into the newest, hottest thing I just got or whatever, and I don't feel that I can do that if I have a large backlog. Alright. So I'm just building along, and you can see the steps happening on the screen there, and little Harry is walking his way slowly towards the other side. But we are on bag 2 of 4, I think it looks like. There's 3. I'm just looking down the floor here. 4. Yep. I just dropped them on the floor, just in case the missing sticker sheet was in the bottom, but it's not. And I keep messing with my hair because it gets wrapped around my earbuds. Had I been smart about it, I would have got myself ponytail elastic in advance. But I've discovered for my own hair that if I leave it down and let it move around in my shirt, you're going to make me hungry, Fantastic Sherlock Fox. Alright. There we go. So there's that build. So we take 1 square and we put this one on top. Fantastic Sherlock Fox to the rescue. My daughter has long hair as well. So he just popped around the corner on his way up the stairs to go start cooking and dropped a couple of hair elastics on the desk. I will use that incentive so I can stop fiddling with my hair. It's not exactly a fidget thing that I want to be doing on stream, it's just a pain.
Hello.
Yep. We didn't end up with the chewed by the dog all that much, but we definitely had the ones that we still find in the couch. I've lost some in the couch and it drives me crazy. Oops. Very true. Welcome on in, Mr. L. Welcome, welcome. I'm just curious. I'm not very good at keeping track of time. Have you decided to stay with Owl Poppins on Twitch, or is it just that the time since you last switched has not expired yet to allow you to adjust again? I know that. Can't blame you. I mean, a lot of people very much understand when they talk about things like, the pain scale going from 1 to Lego. 1 to stepping on a Lego, there you go. But the other thing about Lego is that you either love it or you hate it, right? It's not just a parental thing. I mean, it's one of those toys that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to some people, which is fine. Particularly when people are following instruction sets. I mean, I heard somebody say, why bother with an instruction set? You can just get all kinds of other kits. But you can also find Legos seem to be rather universal, and I think that's one of the reasons why I continue playing with it. Yeah, I think. Yeah, you're on the same page as I am, Brian. I was having that conversation with Lyric just the other day about the fact that I absolutely would love to have a copy of the Titanic. I just have nowhere to put it. You probably will change it? Yeah, I could see that. That would make sense. Because it was frustrating for a while. I've switched back and forth between spellings of my name, and I keep wanting to actually drop the last name entirely. Unfortunately, it's taken, and every version they keep suggesting of an alternate instead just does not appeal. So I was having a conversation with Lyric and noting that I would love to have a copy of the Titanic. I mean, it's a beautiful kit. Unfortunately, I just do not have the space or the funds to justify something like that. I mean, I'm lucky in that the vehicles we have not had problems and things like that. That's probably where my money would be going if I had to be spending on stuff. Would probably be towards, upgrading and or getting a different vehicle, just because I love being able to play games on computers and things, but I also love my freedom so that I don't actually have to get cabin fever. Now, I do it by choice because I'm a little bit of an introvert. I talk to you guys, but I don't actually go anywhere or do anything. I'm a scout leader, and so every week the kids wear me out enough from the various activities that I really just want to shut the door and say, go away. I've had enough of kids. I've had enough of people. Leave me alone. And sometimes that actually involves just getting out of Dodge for a little bit. So going to a cafe with a book or something like that. But so if I didn't have a vehicle, I'd be stuck on public transit, which is all well and good, except I don't know what it is about public transit in my neighborhood. I must look approachable or something, but people try to talk to me. And once again, I just would really rather they go away. But, you can't win them all, right? Len_Russell has a limited quantity of extroversion energy, and once that pool is dry, then I can get it right really cranky. Until that... Oh, thank you. Oh, yes, okay. On the Lego screen... Oops, that's in the wrong spot. Let's move that over here. Yeah, that should work. Yeah, so I do like people, but there's a limited well, so if the well runs dry, then I would like them to go away. Add, so exclamation point, add QOTD. And that's runnable by anybody. Yeah, exactly. That's really what it is. Because I know that the neighbor doesn't... Aw, that's awesome. So I do have my days. but also because I know they don't watch, I can say this. The next door neighbor has a dog that they've named Biscuit. Speaking of cookies. But the dog is incredibly annoying. So it really didn't take long for, in our house, the nickname for the dog became Bisquick. As in the quick dough product. Ooh. Weird, I must have got suddenly sweaty. That's disgusting. Sorry. But we've nicknamed the dog Bisquick. And Bisquick is barking a lot. And it's one of those ones where you look out the door and they're medium, well, maybe not medium-sized, a little bit under medium-sized. But they're one of those ones that basically a medium-sized mop without a handle. Yes. Impa, would you please oblige? Basically, this dog is really annoying, but I can't really blame them. They had a very nice dog when they first moved in, and their dog passed before ours, so they gifted us things like pooper scoopers and weird stuff like that they weren't using. They thought, nope, we're done with dogs, not going to happen again. Well, yeah, that didn't last. Just the nature of the kids. We want a dog. Of course we want a dog. Yes, we'll take care of it. We really will. We really will. And then next thing you know, it's the shouty parent. Yeah, I suppose it is ominous music for talking about the Biscuit. The thing is, I actually do think Biscuit is fairly smart. I mean, not smart for a dog, but just not a total dud. Unfortunately, Biscuit is not curious enough to be able to run away. Okay, Mr. L, I will leave it up to you to provide the chat context on that one, because not everybody was there. We were talking in Very true. Okay. So the owls have a couple of interesting dogs, and sometimes their dogs, like a lot of dogs, will off-gas a little bit, and it was unpleasant. So we were talking about that, and we were talking about the dogs that sometimes will come by and let one rip and just keep on going. And so I just said, oh, so you got crop dusted by the dog. And yeah, that made everybody laugh. Well, the other one I find actually mildly amusing, but unfortunately happened a fair bit at our house when we had our dog, was, to start with, we had a fairly large hound, like, shepherd or whatever, hound and stuff, type of cross. I can't stop laughing when you guys say that. All right. Well, you got me cracked up and broken. That sounds really odd coming across on the text-to-speech in my ear. So we had a dog that loved him to pieces, but as he got older, he had some horrible ones, and would get so embarrassed by them, but he was very large, and yet he'd come by and he would like, crop dust on your feet. Yeah, that's true. Yes, the sport utility beagle would walk by, let one rip, and then leave the room, but the funny part is sometimes he would be doing different things like that, an itchy body or whatever, and so he'd rub on the couch and on the side of his body or something, but let one rip as he did it, and then so you wouldn't really notice at the time. It didn't make a big difference or anything of that nature. But then later on in the season, when you had to change to either, new heaters. Yep, let one rip. So he would pass wind as he would be rubbing on the side of the couch or something like that with the side of his body. So it wasn't like he was directly winding on the couch. Pardon me. But it was fine until, a few months later, of course, you'd have to change over the aircon system to either be turning on the summer fan or to be... So, yeah, I'm sure there's going to be a clip later on of Bart conversation in Dell's chat. Anyway, Let's open this and before I get on noisier. That just came out really wrong. So anyway, you do that, and then it would be fine. And later on, you'd go and turn on the fan or turn on the in-house heating, and then those wonderfully ripe windings would come back to haunt you in the most evil of ways. You just couldn't escape it at that point. Not quite as bad as the video someone posted in the Owls Discord. Basically, it was some poor lady who was super hot in the summer, and she was hiding in behind, like under a sheet with a box fan on her bed, reading a book or something like that. Just trying to get, I think probably just trying to stay cool. But their pug came by and really let off a smelly one straight into the box fan. And the poor lady was freaking out, trying to get out from underneath the sheet because she was basically suffocating with dog windage. It was really, really weird. So, yeah. You're so glad you listed that word. I'm sure that's going to be, the theme of Dell's chat for the next week or so is probably people coming and going, that fart conversation you had last week? Oops. I don't know if I'd call that the best content, but it's definitely content nonetheless. Although, if it was content, the dog wouldn't have let it go in the first place. Anyway. So, yeah. It was really interesting being in the Owls chat. You never know what's going to happen. Like with a lot of streamers, there's people that have a plan and have it come out like a show, and that's great. But you can tell who's been a YouTuber first, making videos, before they got into streaming, and didn't change their format. I did dig a hole. Or I lit the bed on fire, so I had to lie on it, right? So so I was I was watching other streamers, and some of them, you can totally tell they've been YouTubers first and didn't change their format. And so they still run a stream that's a lot like a television show. Some of them complete with, I wouldn't say commercials, but like music breaks. And it really weirds me out. Like, that's definitely not my cup of tea. And I don't quite know what would be the inspiration for something like that. I mean, it sets you apart, makes you unique, I'll give them that. But there was one I ended up actually ceasing following just because the YouTube content and the stream content started to not be different from each other. And both went downhill. So, too bad, Used to like that streamer a lot, but unfortunately it didn't work so well anymore. Okay, let's make sure. Good. I have to make sure I'm only throwing out the junk sprue in between the pieces of between the wands. I have to make sure that's the only thing I'm throwing out, because earlier on I accidentally threw out a piece. We were making the house points for the Hogwarts magic trunk, and I actually managed to throw out one of these gray pieces, so I couldn't complete that very well. And thankfully we had not emptied our trash bins for the week yet, so I was able to go through all of it and make sure I got all the pieces and found everything. But there's the odd time I find things Lego-wise go missing, and you find them later when they show up in the vacuum cleaner. I'm starting to think I should have a policy where if the kids don't claim the stuff that we pull out of the vacuum cleaner and wash, within like 2 or 3 weeks it becomes mine. I think that would be nice. Because then there's lots of random little bits that they would never have completed. Sorry. Would never have in their collections. Ooh, this is kind of cool. So we've got, actually, I guess I'm not going to show that one, but I'll re-show it when it gets close to actually using that. Was this going to, oh, there we go. You can sort of see it. Is that better? Maybe not. My old wrinkly hands. So we have one that's custom printed to say Skella Grow on it. That's kind of cool. They're growing back poor Ron's leg. It also refers to the second movie with Lockhart, where Lockhart thought, oh yeah, Harry broke his arm, we're going to look all great in front of everybody else and regrow his arm, and, well, Lockhart, the knob, decided that he was going to help, and instead, he actually, there I go hitting the mic, he actually made Harry's arm vanish entirely. Boo on him. Okay, so we got little gems and things I can pick up as we go. I think I can probably find what I need here. Okay, let's put together the Harry and Hermione that we've got for this one. Looks like Hermione has an injury because of Sirius, and her shirt's all ripped and dirty too. Oh, she gets the blue legs this time. So in these ones, I'm a little disappointed there isn't printing on the legs, but I'm really, what can you do with this type of character? Or type of situation? He's got... I'll let her be quite annoyed at people, because I have enough Hermione's where she's in a good mood. Wow. 40... No, okay, if I read that correctly, that'd be 44/100ths%. Oh, yeah. I can see why that you would choose not to have a plan. Okay, so Hermione has a custom piece. I'll put it on her and then I'll show. Ah, got it. Okay, slight order typo. Gotcha. This one, is it going to show? There we go. So she's got a bandage on her hand. And it's wrapped up there. It's got some nice detail on it. It's part of why I'm trying to show it, but it doesn't want to focus properly. That's okay. Anyway, she's got a bandage on her hand from Sirius knocking her, pulling her down and stuff. Well, that won't last for long. So hopefully you'll have better air soon. Provided that the dogs don't help soil it, or more importantly, the, smelly teenagers don't end up soiling it as well. Well, that's good. Yeah, you were mentioning that you live in an area where you get rural, what do you call it? Field tilling issues. So it kicks up a lot of the dust. Okay, this one's kind of hard to show, so I'm going to try, but, don't expect much. There we go. So you can sort of see for a brief moment before the lighting gets all screwball. It's not going to work. Sorry about that. Can I get it this way? Well, maybe you're actually talking fertilizer, right? There we go. So we've got a custom printed piece. You can sort of see there, not well. It's got a little open section in the middle, and that's supposed to represent the time turner for Hermione. And that goes in her hand. Okay, and as usual, Harry is not going to get his wand. It's going to go in the wand box. But I have just a few wands. And that's just the one color. I mean, this whole... Besides one spare key to something, that's a whole box full of wands. Alright. Just going to quickly pause and go to be right back for a split second while I deal with that hair elastic, and I'll be right back online. So Harry, and he's got mud on his shirt and on the back. And the lighting is terrible, but you know, that's the way it goes. Yeah, let's see if we can get it to... There we go. Alright. Now we are back to... That's also obvious. So move that one across. And we have Lovely Owl, but it is not Hedwig. It's actually Errol, which I find mildly amusing, because the Madame Pomfrey got so annoyed when Errol, pardon me, came to drop gifts and stuff, because he keeps crashing into everything. And then, what's the other pieces? Oh, okay. So these, I never really know what to do with them. I'm going to have to put them on a board somewhere. And let's go sideways once again. Think. There we go. Kind of, sort of, maybe. So you can see that I've got the two collector's pieces. And this one, I believe, is Fudge, the Minister of Magic. And this one, I'm going to bet, is Lockhart. Knowing Git. But I have to check against the list of what it is. I just know that it's either Fudge or it could be Slughorn. I don't know if there's a Slughorn one. Okay, so we've got a chair, which goes on a circular base. Come on. Yeah, in essence, you get little collectible chocolate frog card tiles with a lot of the kits now. And you're supposed to try and see if you can get all of them. Like, I think there's a dozen or something. I never bother because I don't have anybody to trade with, so it's not a big deal. But I do need to find a place to put them because I'm running out of little spots. So we've got ourselves, there's another printed one I will show you up close. Let's see if I can do this sideways. This is supposed to be, there you go. There's a box of Birdie Bot's Every Flavor beans, and that's kind of a neat amount of detail they printed on there. And that apparently just sits off to the side as well. Interesting to note, though, that Harry's still on the left-hand page, so it thinks that we're only about halfway through, which doesn't make any sense because I'm on bag 3 of 4. So I'm not particularly sure what they're thinking. Alright, so we have ourselves a lantern, which is going to have a gold sort of conical piece. And then we just put these together. But yeah, it's kind of nice to have people who don't have a set plan all the time. There's nothing wrong with a set plan, but the ones where it comes out looking like a television show all the time just really didn't work for me. So, unfortunately, I quite liked Pigglesworth, but just haven't, because I've found enough other people I'm interested in at the moment, his material's been squeezed off the radar. So I don't watch his stuff anymore. But when he first started streaming, he actually would break everything up almost like he had commercial breaks in there with his music. And that works for some. Wasn't really my thing. I also did not particularly enjoy the fact that he and Zloy did not take a hint when some of their pranks were starting to really annoy people on TV. I know it's all in fun, you know, but there's a point at which somebody eventually says, okay, this is no longer funny, I no longer have patience for this, and if you keep pushing, it's just not... I'm not going to be super happy watching that. But that's okay, you know, everybody's different, some like it, some don't. So here's the little bottle of Skelligro. The little cute skeleton head on the top. Okay, and now we're building the sort of the accessories. I go in with a general theme in terms of what I would like to do, and then beyond that is just whatever happens, and work with it. So sometimes it makes sense, sometimes it doesn't. Now, you'll notice I'm not bothering to put on stickers. It was determined earlier on in the build that for some reason the sticker sheet that's supposed to come with this is completely absent. So we're not getting stickers on the little stand-up wall and stuff. Calendars lined with gold. Well, you know what we can do with that? Melt them down and use them for something else. Alright. So now we have more bedside material. That one have a hole? Doesn't have a hole in it. Where is... Oh, orange. Okay. So we've got orange. Oh, for sure. I didn't even know till today that it was actually open. Or not open, sorry, that it was missing. We opened the box, it was totally factory sealed, so I'll probably take a look at replacing that sheet afterwards and just say, yeah, it was totally not in there. And see what they do. They're usually pretty good at it. Pretty good about it. And, but it's one of those things that I'd have to contact them directly online rather than trying to just walk into a store, because it doesn't work that way. They don't keep the parts and pieces around. I mean, can you imagine what the storage would be like if they did? I don't know about disorganized. I think you're a very organized person. Doesn't necessarily mean you and I have the same organization. I'm very much disorganized all the time. I mean, case in point, if I was organized, I would be on time. And we can count on one hand the number of times I've been on time. That too. Now, I will say, I do like the look of a gold pen. I was doing bullet journaling for a while, and quite a lot of it was very nice. Okay, we got a printed chocolate block. Aw. Well, that's good to hear that it showed up quickly. It's a shame that you had to request it at all, though. And... okay, good. I didn't have to go for the fix tool. By the way, those of you who do Lego, does anybody happen to know if there's an official name for that fixing and repairing tool that they put in the kits? I think nobody is always organized and always focused. I mean, even Martha Stewart isn't always organized and always focused. Although she likes to pretend otherwise. Shh. That's okay. Fantastic Sherlock Fox would equally tell you that I'm not organized and focused either. A brick separator. That would make sense. We just call it a fixer-stixer at our house. I think it's probably because my kids just didn't want to call it a brick separator. Okay, so we've got ourselves a little part here. There we go. Just with jewels and stuff on it. Not quite sure what that has to do with the beds. It's probably the gifts for Ron. The 2 times whatever the heck this thing is. Oh, okay. So it's a lamp of some sort. Probably. Can be. It's either an orange tool or a teal tool. Yeah. So, that said, the 2 I have handy down here actually happen to be these 2. So I've got this one, right? I tend to prefer them that color actually. And then there's these carrot orange ones, which, as you can imagine, would not be the Zerk's favorite either. But these are the modern ones. Some of the earlier ones came in a forest green and were much more ugly, and they didn't actually wedge very well. So this is an improvement of what they've done at the edge, down at this end, making it more wedge shaped than it used to be. And I usually keep one handy. I just hadn't needed one for a while, so I usually put them away. So, yeah, the older ones, I've got a few of them. We got gifted, and I'm really glad they changed them. The newer ones are so much easier to use. I'm assuming probably 1 per box. With the Titanic, you wouldn't want to make a ton of mistakes. One of the things I find really neat, I learned a trick from the local brick shop, who does a Twitch channel and some YouTube stuff. What he does is, and I've started doing now too, when you do stickers, I find that my fingers, even the pinkies, are thick enough, I mean, my kids are too, but thick enough that you put a sticker on, it's kind of hard to see exactly where you want it to be for positioning. So I find that it worked well to put the sticker across the end or the tip of your brick separator tool, and then when you put it down, you can get a much better, like a much closer layout on top before things actually stick, and you get the better chance to replace things. And I was all excited about Well, she's probably got a less shaky hand when it comes to things like drawing and stuff, so I suspect that works. Sticker duty! Woo! So what we do with those, is I put them across the end. And I was all excited to show you guys that trick on one of my previous builds I was doing on stream, and then I went and promptly put it upside down on the build. It's supposed to be a shelf, so I needed to actually go back in, and I used an X-Acto knife with the blade and just very lightly pick up the corner of the sticker and pull it off. So yeah, this is part of why I don't worry too much about selling kits or keeping boxes, is because I make silly mistakes like that from time to time. Looks like we've got little bedside tables with lamps on them. On these ones. Oops. If I get talking too much, I'm going to miss pieces as I do the second round. So we've got little spots. Got. And then we need the gold lampshade. Oh, come on. Delenn cannot put a gold piece onto a pillar today. There we go. Okay. So now they want us to take those and put them in the main build besides the bed. Besides? The side of the beds. I can't even talk today. Pardon me. It fit beautifully on the previous one. What did I do on this one? Probably try putting it in the wrong direction. And if I lean over too much, as you guys just heard, I whacked my head on the microphone. Alright. So now we've got things like plants and deco. It's kind of funny. I love the plants and deco in Lego about as much as I like terraforming in Minecraft. I recognize its importance, but I absolutely hate it. I'm not much of a flowers gal. Sometimes Fantastic Fox gets a little annoyed when I don't notice that he's bought new flowers, or don't notice or don't comment when he's bought new flowers for the kitchen table. It does help brighten the place up, but I'm not much of a flower gal, so that's good to hear. Yeah, that could be a long project. Stream injury insurance. You mean the things that I say on stream could get me in trouble off stream? Yeah, on a regular basis it could. Thankfully, Fantastic Sherlock Fox is fairly tolerant. But I do... It's funny, there are sometimes I wondered, when I first dragged him into chatting with me and stuff on Dadcraft73 streams. Sure. But there's times I wondered when I dragged him in initially. Whack! Oh yeah, probably. Either that or head injuries from leaning into the microphone. Everybody could use stream injury insurance for that one. Alright. So now it looks like we're doing the roofing. I'm glad to hear that, because sometimes the persona can get a little rough. But you know what? That's part of people having two different ways of looking at life. You know, it's a nice relief to sometimes not be yourself, and there's other times where it's great relief to be yourself. And one of the things, I've been trying both lately. Now, I know it sounds dumb because it makes you sound, not genuine. But where I'm going with that idea is to say that sometimes when I'm having a negative day, bad headspace, incredibly self-critical, when I'm being incredibly self-critical or something, if I was to actually be I'm continuing being as honest as I was up to that point, I can guarantee it would not be a very pleasant stream. And you guys do hear it bleed through from time to time. I tried not to, but those are the days I try to be somebody else. Not comparatively to someone else. Saying, I want to be just like, I don't know, Maribel Jade for the day. But, what I mean by that is I just don't want to be the grouchy me I was. I try to be the somebody else who's not having a bad day. And usually it helps out. That's part of why, unless I'm actually physically ill, you're unlikely to see me intentionally fully fully missing a stream. And yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, at the moment it seems to be paying off, not necessarily in numbers, but I end up being less cranky about it. Ooh. Fantastic Sherlock Fox, should we time you out to force you to go into the meeting? Oh, rough. Me, grouchy? Oh, I'm always grouchy. It's my regular situation. You're a parent, right? When one's a parent, being grouchy sometimes comes with the territory. When one's a gal parent, even more so. But that's neither here or there at the moment. Suffice to say, yeah. I find this mildly amusing. Ooh, Delisms. You know, at some point we won't just get a question of the day, we're going to have a Delism of the day, whatever that is. But we'll have to get Mr. Owl to help compile the list. Alright, so we've got... I love this little roofing thing. The funny part is it goes this way up, rather than that way up, which doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me, but that's the way they've done it. And then they put this thing, it's basically a shield piece, but to me it looks like a skateboard with a handle, in all honesty. But that goes on the back. I'm sure there are plenty of streams that use quotes. I just haven't found any that... Ah, so you're multitasking, I gather. And there we go. I think that's the way it's supposed to look. You actually have a very quick wit, and that can be both good and bad sometimes, and I quite like it. That's part of the reason I come back, is watching you two play off, or listening to you two play off each other, is actually part of the fun of your streams for me. So yeah, take that in the best way meant, because it's something I find I come back for. You can stop barking now because you're too noisy and I'm sick and tired of it and I don't have any more patience for that. Yes. I haven't heard that anywhere before. Nope, not at all. Never, never. Alright, so we need to make another one of these. That's okay. If we No, certainly not. Well, sounds like Sassy's quite the troublemaker. And... That's okay. If we still had our dog, I would be regularly telling the dog, "Oh, Darcy, shush!" Or, "Shut up!" You know, that kind of stuff. You might store that one up and ask you to shush. She's barking at you to be quiet. She's not a canine. She's an owl. Last I heard, owls don't bark. Either that or I'm in the completely wrong planet. Alright, so we've got... What time is it? Oh, 5:02. Well, that's a shame. We're not quite at the end. I'm debating, do I go long or do I stick around? Or, pardon me, stick here. There's no real reason to stop, right? You know? I mean, I've only got one bag, but it's a pretty big bag, so I don't know if I haven't really decided what I'm gonna do. Oh, I've got time. Yeah, I mean, technically, I could run until, what was it, 11 Eastern, I think? Something like that? That would be evil and a half for you guys. I keep reversing things because I'm thinking in advance of where they really want me to be. No, I don't think so. Vitriol throwing was never high on my list. Reminds me far too much of a Sherlock Holmes story, where one gal's really interested in going after a character by the name of Baron Gruner. Who, but basically, the long story short is this guy is evil. Adding it to a battery. Not sure that's high on my list, but definitely outside. ATV battery still. So you're refueling the battery, basically. Yeah, so I was reminded far too much of a Sherlock Holmes story. So basically, long story made short, the sulfuric acid is known as vitriol, and so sometimes people use that phrase to refer to being acidic and venomous in conversation, but it actually is a thing, and there used to be far more easier to get, particularly during the Victorian period, and so sometimes people would actually throw, like, there'd be vitriol throwings, like it became an illegal thing that you would actually hear about in the news, because people would have thrown it at one another. Let's see, camera, are you going to tip a little more? There we go. Yeah. Well, no, being a Sherlock Holmes fan, you pick up on those things. So this character, Baron Gruner, what he did was he would ruin women insofar as basically, verbally abuse them and physical assault and things like that. And then he would, once they wanted to, I dropped something, I don't even know what I dropped. Then they would try to break up with him, and he would try and ruin them by throwing sulfuric acid on them, so that they would never be pretty to anybody else. And that concept just really, you should say, grinds my gears, maybe, I guess. But that's where the vitriol reference came from. And I know it's totally not what you meant, but it's what it reminded me of. Talk about evil. Yeah, that is seriously evil. He had, the weird bit of the story is he had an entire book, like a photo album he would keep of pictures of women that he had ruined before he threw, like, how they used to be beautiful. And then if they kept messing with him even after he ruined their reputation and ruined them physically, then he would actually send them the photo from his album to remind them of how beautiful they used to be. Very, very demonic, twisted. And so I'm very, very glad that wasn't based on a real story, but it also makes you wonder about what's going on in the mind of the guy who writes that stuff. I don't get it. Alright, so we have one bag left. Might as well rock it through. These are intentionally, they're not quite on, but these are intentionally removable because it makes the whole build one of the more modular pieces, so that you can actually put it together with other things, other parts of kits, and put them in whatever orientation you like. There's, on the internet, if you take a look on YouTube, there's a whole bunch of different people that have done, they've taken a lot of the series from this year with the green roofing, and in various different ways put them into one mass diorama build, but it's not always the same one, so this year's is far more modular than the previous round. I'm probably not going to be doing that, but that's why these things come off in weird ways, and so sometimes I'll be picking stuff up and move it, and I'll just grab it by whatever, and the top will pop off. Okay, bag 4. So, where can I put this chunk for now? Let's just put it across the top. You can hear the rattling of the last bag. Bag 4. Got a good number of fairly large pieces in this one. And we are dealing with the clock tower once again. I'm getting a little tired of dealing with the clock tower, but it's something. Oop, a piece I dropped. There it is. There we go. They keep redoing parts of it over and over and over again. I mean, that's the way things go with books, in that nobody really says exactly what the layout is. And the thing about it is there's no accepted look of what the Marauders map would show either, which suggests then that the different designers of, be it art or Lego, I guess, or video games or whatever, can get away with a lot of different layouts and revisit different portions of the building over and over again. I mean, really, in somewhere like a hospital, it probably would also be sensible to have your own clock locally. I mean, they didn't wear wristwatches, and I've never really quite figured out why, aside from them being a Muggle invention. but I never really quite understood why they don't wear wristwatches. And yet it seems... It's also funny, my son was commenting on it the other day, or was it my daughter, I can't remember, one of the two, was commenting on it the other day that wizards in the older generations seem to be repeatedly described as wearing wizarding robes and crazy outfits through all of the books. Not all of them dressed oddly. I mean, there's the ones that work for the ministry have to dress in a, so I guess, sane fashion by Muggle standards, or non-magic people standards, simply because they had to be able to blend in on their way to work. Whereas the ones that don't, I mean, can dress as weirdly as you please, but the thing is, you're going to run into kids who've been born in, like, sort of the Muggleborns or the Half-Bloods or whatever with mixed heritage, that they know how to dress like, say, a normal person, basically. They don't have to wear wizarding robes. It's not like, you know, you suddenly turn, I don't know, 16 and you forget how to put your clothes on in the morning, and therefore you must wear giant sacks. It's just not. So I always wondered about that myself. And the other thing is, if you take a look at what's considered uniform for Hogwarts school, they have blazers and, not blazers, sorry, sweaters and vests and skirts and whatever, just like Muggle schools do. Therefore, there are a few, yes, that would probably be as inclined towards wizarding robes as some of the stereotypical Scotch are towards their kilts. I wouldn't say giving the world a show per se, but definitely preferring the wind, shall we say. But that conversation quickly devolved, after we discussed wizarding robes, it quickly devolved into why on earth anybody at the Ministry of Magic would have been daft enough to put Arthur Weasley in charge of the misuse of Muggle Artifacts Department, when he couldn't even figure out the purpose of a rubber duck. Which, it's funny because, I mean, that's become the elementary My Dear Watson of the Harry Potter stories. I wouldn't necessarily, if I got the opportunity, I wouldn't say that I would go, or I would pass. However, I would want a kilt with a purpose. I actually quite like the look of utility kilts with the cargo pockets on them. I think that would be awesome. The other side of it was that the joke is often about men going free, I guess. Trying to keep this family friendly, but underneath their kilts, and yet nobody ever really comments on how the women would dress. So it does make me kind of curious. Not curious to try it, but curious about why people don't really care. So I find that interesting. Anyway, where was I going to say? Yeah, so if it had utility kilt, I would probably wear one. I think that'd be awesome. Because my favorite pants right now are all hiking pants that have at least one cargo pocket on the side. And that allows me to just have a good place to stick my phone at all times. I'm one of those people that, with this whole FOMO business, or fear of missing out, spend an inordinately large amount of time on Discord, which is kind of stupid. Yeah, it really shifted. So we went from there. My kids and I were from discussing the strangeness of wizarding robes for kids that are familiar with a more Muggle-style outfit at school, to why they would put Arthur Weasley in charge, yada yada, rubber duck, etc., etc. But it became the elementary My Dear Watson of Harry Potter. Because it was never actually said in the books, if I remember correctly. I have to double check on that one, and so I'm sure Ross will laugh at me. Dell is autocorrect. No, Dell is one of the many, many victims of autocorrect. But Dell has overkill self-correction. Anyway, but where I was going after that was that, if I remember correctly, that particular rubber duck comment was actually an ad-lib by the actor... 2, 4, 6, 8, everybody Okay. So let's start with the stretch. Let's take a quick sit back. Get over my head. And no, I'm not Lammy Pie, so we're not going to spend all afternoon stretching. Careful, Lyric. If you press too many buttons, you know that your sister's got her finger on one of the other buttons. You got to see it earlier. Just give the fingers and the wrist a little bit of stretch. What would you not do if you were me? Oh, yes, Lyric. So Lyric, early on, discovered that given the amusing provocation, the big red button, don't press it! Yeah. I totally need to get a whole bunch of new sounds. I mean, one could argue that the fact that my Stream Deck said to not cooperate with me would be a perfect opportunity to reset and try a whole bunch of different sounds than I had before. But apparently in the novel, sorry, now I can't remember what I was saying. Dictator. Alright, so that's the end of that bag. Let's get it actually put together. There we go. So we're starting with a square and a couple of arches, which should get us something viewable fairly quickly. No need to be sorry. No need to be sorry. Benson's actually pretty good at Benson's actually good at knowing what's appropriate and what's not. I just give her power because, yeah, she's got a lot of other things. Shiny. Ooh, shiny button. When my Stream Deck was actually cooperating properly, earlier on and didn't need to be rebuilt from scratch, I had a button on there that actually was the hammer. You know, it says ban on the side of it. And I've never actually used it, but man, have I been tempted to. Not because of anything anybody did. It was simply because sometimes I'm like, you know, I pressed just about every other button on this thing today. What have I not used? Oh. Yeah, I guess you're not seeing that very well. These are right now sorted both by color-ish, I guess, and by similar piece type. So when I can determine which ones are the same, I'm trying to sort them together. If I don't have a whole pile of, like, say, gold pieces or something, I try to put it in the middle of something else so that I can actually find... That's intentional. Broadcasters can, though. But yeah, so I'm sorting them, if I remember correctly, there we go, by, like, just anything and everything. But so it's like this gold piece, where I'm pointing my finger here. Yeah. So if you that one there, I try to put it amongst things that are not the same, so it'll stand out a little bit more. But if I was to be sorting bigger piles, like exactly something like that. So yours are coming in similar sizes, and in that case, I would actually be sorting probably loosely by size, like as you suggested, and then I would probably after that sub-sort by shape. So if I had, let's say I had a whole bunch of, like, okay, earlier on we had white little squares, and now we've got tan brown little squares, I would probably still consider sorting those all together. And the reason for that is that then when you're sorting through, I know what the shape is, and the color will pop, which makes it a lot easier for me to find. But if I'm doing it all at once, like in smaller sets like this, it's easier to do in little groupings that are the same. When I'm storing the kids' Lego, we've actually got it sorted by color up there, and the kids even frustrate themselves, and it's part of the reason why Lego doesn't often get put away and sorted properly, is that they don't like digging through the bins. So they don't like digging through the bins to try and find the correct pieces that they want for whatever their build is. They said, I need a white such and such. And then they're taking forever digging and digging and digging and losing interest. So I think if we actually could, I would resort everything by the piece type or piece shape. Thing is, though, that there's just enough piece shapes that without an entire room, like you would see for, say, an adult fan of Lego, there's really no point in resorting everything, because it takes long enough to sort the kid stuff and it never stays sorted. Every once in a while I'll go on a little bit of a kick and quote-unquote help them sort. I usually ask permission first, though. You know, do you mind if I go digging through your loose parts bin? And that means that if they have chunks of things they don't want me to take apart, then they can let me know that. But I'm bum-tiss. And notice that I do the resorting and not Fantastic Sherlock Fox. Because he leaves it up to the kids, and if it's never sorted, as long as it doesn't end up in the vacuum cleaner, that's about as far as his day-to-day caring goes, because he's got other things on his plate. So, you know, how the kids sort their Lego is, for the most part, of no consequence, provided they're not whining, complaining too much about not being able to find something. Alright, there's a chunk there. What's next? Another big strip. But yeah, every once in a while I'll go on a bit of a kick. I mean, the kids decided last, I don't know when it was, last fall, I guess, they were going to jointly store their Lego because they were both having duplicates of things, and that way they could stop borrowing pieces from one another. That didn't really go very well. We haven't had to re-separate everything again, but there are times where they still argue over stuff. Like, my son's making boats and things that go in my daughter's world, and sometimes that makes her annoyed. I guess so. I never thought about it that way. I'm a carpet pickup kind of person. So if I see something that looks a little bit odd on the carpet, I'll just pull it off. I just go reach down and pick it up. That's just the style I do, but that doesn't necessarily mean that works for everybody. If you have enough of it, then yeah, you could do it that way. We tried to keep it contained for a while. Ooh, that's cool. One of the things, actually, if you're in the market, or if you find somebody who's got a few used, a neato DIY trick that I wish we had tried, for people that are a little more organized than us, I suppose, is that you can use the sheets that people... start with this one. The sheets that people use for cribs, like for a child's crib, those sheets work fairly well to actually contain Lego. So literally the fitted crib sheet with the corners, you can have people play with their Lego or dump their Lego bin of whatever they're sorting through into that. And then when you need to clean up, you pick up the corners of the sheet and the majority of the Lego comes with it, which I really like that. We gave our bedding away to my brother for his kids, so we didn't actually have a whole lot of that left. But it's one of those things I thought was quite neat. If you're doing a bigger project, like something lyrics size, and want to do that on the floor, I have, yes, actually. Now let's clarify, though. I have not in ages. There was some that I washed when we got it gifted from my husband's coworker. And there's some that I washed when I picked up years ago, when I picked up some of the what do you call it, like Kijiji type of stuff. Why do I care about where this... Oh, I see. Okay, it's 12. They want things to go straight. Yeah, they can get nasty for sure. And if you are getting them from someone else's house and you're not familiar with who that is, you know... You can. I have done that. The warning on that one is it's incredibly noisy. Very, very noisy. However, sort of a halfway solution, I guess you could say, is once again a garment bag, but like even a sweater bag or whatever, provided the holes are small enough, things don't go through. Yes, but I did actually wash a little bit of the cream because there was one bag where she looked like she accidentally spilled coffee on it during the packing process. But other than that, everything was great. Where was I going with that? Which one was this? Oh, wrong. I'm trying to figure out why the pin was so long. It's because I got the wrong pin. Nope, it doesn't. And nor does it melt them. One of the other things you can do, actually, is you can take the Lego, put it once again in a sweater bag, and put it in your dishwasher. Now, you wouldn't want to put a whole lot of nasty soap and stuff in there that could get stuck in there, but it will go through and you can wash it and rinse it and so on. It'll come out full of water though, so you need to be careful that from there you can go and put it in your dryer. At least you only spend half the time with it bashing around inside the machine being really incredibly noisy. Whereas, I mean, in your dishwasher, you've actually got the spray that's moving around, so it's sort of the other way around, less noise. And the other side of it is the dishwasher is more likely to have it at a sanitary level of water heat. No, very, very true. Although I guess one could argue maybe that has something to do with what we wash it with. That's possible. I heard recently that I probably should have been using something like a Woolite type product, so one used for like hand knits might have been a better product for that. But one of the reasons people usually do wash them is if you've got a household where you've got maybe generic pet smell on absolutely everything, so that some of the surfaces you build on have a pet smell to them, or if you've picked up Lego from, clearly something like a previous smoker, or a very, very dusty environment. So I could see, possibly, it happens. So I've washed Lego that I've got on Kijiji from smoking houses. Another reason to wash it actually is, and where you wouldn't put it in a garment bag, is if you're the kind of person that displays your Lego for a very long time, then you may end up preferring instead to get one of those like spray water bottles, you can use for your cat, or your plants or whatever, and then you can spray off the Lego. So I mean, or if you want to be careful about it, you can even hose it down. I just would be worried about using a sprayer in a sink or something and having it go down the drain. But like if something came off, but you can wash it down that way, and that does help combat a little bit when you get the dust that settles on top of these things. I have never actually tried it, but I'm very, very tempted to give these a little bit of, or like give some of my seating models a bit of a wash down spray, and then somebody told me if you use the spray electronics anti-dust products, I think the one in Canada that we can easily get hold of is called N-Dust. It's one that's supposed to be safe for putting across your computer screen or your television to repel the dust a bit. Apparently you can put that on your Lego and it's supposed to help make it so that the dust doesn't settle on it as quickly. I don't know, but it's incredibly tempting to try. Alright, where are we here? Go sideways. And a pin in the back with the gear. Mostly I do find the mechanical stuff, like this and Technic, are really interesting to, oops, sorry, too high, are really interesting to me. I love the mechanical type elements of these sets. Okay, so I've been holding stuff up in the air. Let's put it down. What have I got here? Full of doors. With an arch. So, I mean, there's pros and cons to cleaning it. I don't envy Lyric the job at some point of having to clean his Titanic model. That'll be quite interesting because there's just a lot of nooks and crannies in the big Collector Series models, of any of them. So that would be a lot of places for dust to settle over the years. And while we're not particularly allergic at our house, we do end up getting sensitive to dust, of course, so then even if you don't regularly dust absolutely all the time, which sadly I am horrible at doing so and need to do a big dust before Christmas, but a lot of those places where the dust settles, then when you turn on your seasonal fan to stir the air or kick on the heater or something like that, then you of course got all the dust suddenly moving that was settled out of the air before, and then people are sneezing and stuffed up and don't necessarily realize quite what happened. Alright. Now I'm just barreling on through here, so there is serious risk of me having skipped a step or missed a step at some point, so I'll probably have more little leftover bits than just the spares that these kits usually come with. Right there, and then there. One of the other things about these small ones is over the years I've saved up all the little extras and spares they give you. So that's my Lego collection, and every once in a while I'll pull it out and just randomly build something. Like just, you know, not just extra characters, but I've got lots of little tiny black pieces and little weird shapes and, like the lamps we had, I've got the extra little telescope shapes and stuff like that. So I can build a bunch of different things. But for some reason, these places always seem to assume that although we only need one of the little, like, soup handle shaped bits, they're always going to give you two, because it would be critical if you lost one. So I've got probably about half a dozen of those kicking around. Okay. But these going together, and then these weird twisty things. I will never, now that I've seen them in Star Wars Lego, I will never see them as anything other than a robot arm, which then consequently seems really strange to have on a clock. You just go and put a robot arm on a clock. So then that one pokes in the center. But of course you have to be able to wind time back because you're dealing with Hermione's time turner. And I find that interesting because I'm doing the hospital set now, and then I was gifted the Serious Rescue set recently, so that was my birthday present. And I've got that piece to do, so I guess kind of fun. Like, one could argue I'm sort of doing these in story order. I've got a printed clock, and that's where the gold goes on the bottom. They only gave me one in this kit, yet there's extras from a previous set that would fit, so I mean that's less critical. And it goes in the corner, but what does it stick to? Oh, there we go. There's something. I always don't understand why they give you two clocks. Like, I don't know. I don't know why a building would have two clocks. It works, or it doesn't. I mean, we're not talking about a world where we've got time zones. Okay. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Let's see, it's cleaned all. Oh, no, I didn't. Okay, stretched out. I did not hydrate. Sorry, Lyric. Missed that one. My apologies. Probably more than half an ounce, though. Couple more wedges, starting to make some visual roofing progress. So the time slot I'm using now, for those of you that hadn't heard, although I've said it probably about 3 times, so apologies to those who have heard. The Whatever Wednesday time slots were designed by me, or to be a break from doing Minecraft, just because sometimes you need days to be able to do this stuff that's all grindy, and other times you just need a bit of a break because otherwise you don't have inspiration to do what you need to do. So I was doing it as a Whatever Wednesday break, and literally was playing whatever I felt like. Very itchy nose today. Anyway, so doing whatever I felt like, but that wasn't going over very well because, you know, I needed to be consistent as much as you guys needed me to be consistent. So it wasn't just because of stream, but I decided that I was going to settle on doing the puzzles. Well, I got tired of that after a while. I mean, we finished Mist, we finished Riven, the sequel to that. I was going to go into third one, Exile. Had some technical difficulties with that. At the same time, I sort of, whatever, let's try something else. So I tried Escape Simulator, and that was fine for a while. That was fine for a while, and I may go back to that at some point, but I think it's time for a change. So I'm looking at, I encouraged or put in the zoo stuff. Let's see, this is going to, yeah. So I put in the zoo stuff. Okay, did that wrong. Put it too far forward. That works better. More free movement. We've got this twisty bit in here. But the zoo stuff, I'm still going to continue doing because I really quite like that. And the cutesy animals I find very relaxing as a break. There's not as much grindy work in there right now, just because of the nature of the fact that I'm doing the career section, or the career path in the game. But the evening slot on Wednesday, which is what we're in right now, probably not always run this long. And instead, I'm going to be switching back to something more Minecraft and trying out some modded, and going to be joining the Firepower Vault Hunter server. So they're still deciding what they want to call it for this season because they decided to rename it since the new version was coming out. It's a 1.18 base, and unfortunately the 1.16.5 base, part of the world, or like you can't upgrade your worlds from there. Part of the reason you can't upgrade the worlds is they've actually done a significant overhaul to large portions of the way the game works. So that meant that they figured it was a good opportunity to rename. Anyway, so I'm going to be switching over and trying Vault Hunters. It's going to be another one that I'm a little slow at, just the way that's, I guess, how I play. I'm just a pokey player. But it's going to be something different and interesting. In the earlier version, I would have had to fight my way through basically completing vanilla to be able to even get close to unlocking the ability to start running vaults. And in the new one, they've actually let you have that ability right from square one, but you still need to get materials. Part of the catcher in the first one, in the earlier version, was that you would need to have purple blocks. So which means you had to go all the way to the end, which for most players means you had to kill the dragon. And all that entails. Plus, you weren't able to get any vault gear, so new armors, etc., until level 25 of running vaults, so you still wanted to be fully geared up with all your vanilla stuff, even though it has nerfs to it. But in the newer version, you may still want to have a vault set and a non-vault set, but you can get vault gear right from square one. So they're changing that up, and Iskall85 and team are really excited. And that's supposedly going to drop this weekend with the new mod pack version. But I will not be joining until Wednesday, and that's going to be my Wednesday project, I guess you could say, is I'll be doing Vault Hunters. So yeah, back to a bit more Minecraft, something that I haven't played modded in quite some time, so it'll be a nice change, right? And that will still provide a break between the two vanilla days. So yeah. And with the vanilla server, I think in my vanilla server of choice, I'll probably still stick with the Deadcraft 73 server series, simply because it's been a great crew, it's worked out well for me, and the amount of involvement that the people on those servers seem to expect from me really does fit with my playstyle. So the fact that sometimes I want to be self-sufficient and other times I do need help. Thanks, Lyric. Thank you very much for dropping by and joining us for a bit. Good luck with your build for the portion I don't get to see, but I want to say thanks so much for coming in. Okay, so we're just about done the roof here. Roof panel, flip it over. Yeah. Everybody and their dog has been talking about what they want to do for the new season for bases and such. I have not got the slightest clue of what I want to do for my new vanilla base for the next season. I thought I was going to do a medieval build of Shrewsbury, England, and I might still do that. I think that's the main plan, but I want to have something a little bit more flexible, just because I don't want to run out of things to do. And it is one of those sections where, for some, medieval has been done to death. Now, I've never done a medieval town build before, so it's new to me, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be all that interesting to anybody else other than me. So I'm looking at trying to figure out what sort of style I want on the modded server as well, just so that I've got two very different things going on. The variety should help keep it somewhat fresh for me, and hopefully for you guys as well. One of the other things I like about the fact that they've overhauled the when the mods start opening up to you in the Vault Hunter system is partly because there's a lot of farms that people build, whether it be true, you know, it's more that if it's been done to death, then I have zero interest in re-engineering the wheel. So if I don't, I'm reinventing the wheel. There you go. Yes, I can't even remember the idioms properly. Oh, come on, snap in. There we go. 1, 2. So yeah, there'll be a little bit more of a history twist on the vanilla season next season, and I think that's part of. I'm looking at this strangely because it looks to me like. Oh no, I guess it is angled. The way they do these clip-ins with hinges often give it an angled roof, but this roof was so vertical that I felt that I missed something, and the truth is I did. So I have to back up and see where it was that I blew it. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So I only paid half attention. Yeah, wow, blew it quite a ways back. So I put the angles on, and I did not actually put the other pieces. Whoops! Didn't put the wedges on, I should have. Alright, so that's probably what I'll go with. Is I've been planning it for a while to do that one, and I've kind of wanted to do a medieval build. We are doing the large carpet art of Cadfile this season. I just wasn't sure if it was too much the same, because it was the same character set, but I mean, there's more to that. You know, I can play around with making a Glover, and I'm playing around with, you know, making a tavern and a pub, and you know, this, that, and the other thing. And I can do story locations for the book series, so it does have some fun to it. And also, I mean, I will be fudging some of the stories, because as much as I would love to put story scenes in Minecraft, I don't really want to put in, you know, dead people. So yeah, I'll be taking a lot of references out of other people's material, but the 1100s is an era I quite liked. And Derek Jacobi did a really good job with the series, so I have some visual material to work with as well. It's also a popular enough series that if I really wanted to, I could write away to Shrewsbury proper and order in some of their tourist material based around that. Let's see. Okay. Snapped on. Snap these on. Good. Okay, now I'm at this one. Perfect. See, I get distracted and I completely skip steps. But Barry is letting us know that we are just about done, which we've been, quote-unquote, just about done for quite some time, so let's finish this up. Oh, I've never seen a frame like this before. So what they've done, it's got the arch and the holes because it's going to get one of these little lattice things. I don't think I've ever seen one like that before, so I do quite like it. So it gets you... Oh, let's go this way. So you've got the arch with the lattice work in it. To those of you that do a lot of Legos, probably nothing new, but I was impressed. And I'm going to once again do it incorrectly if I don't pay attention here. There we go. And that way. Green bit on the back. Sometimes when I'm doing the 5-minute Lego thing, I will try and ballpark which pieces I need by using the little section in the top left of the screen when I was doing piece pulls. So where it says 3 times one piece and 2 times something else and so on and so forth. I would pull out the various little pieces before I ever start building things. I just found that part got to be such a boring thing to do. Alright, so this one goes on here and rotates the clock. kind of cool. And then this one goes on top and just sits up front. There we are. Okay, Harry. And that's it. Spins this. And then that whole thing goes, oops, extra bits. So that whole thing, let's see if we can get it to actually go on camera. There we go. Goes up top. And come on, sit in. Oops, I'm breaking things on the backside. So this one's a rather sketchy connection. It's a rather sketchy connection at the back. So right in here, it's only got pins, like the studs, for it to connect onto, rather literally, right in here. So its connection is kind of tenuous. Okay, let's see. So then, we have loose bits. So, this part, in theory, pull off this beam, which is the part that keeps coming apart. But then it opens up. Pull that off, opens up, and we've got the chairs. We've got a cart. I'm just gonna randomly stick stuff to things because otherwise it just doesn't stay. So we've got a cart. We've got a chair. I'll just throw that on the end. We've got a chest with the lantern. Where'd the lantern go? Throw that on the chest. And then we just got random characters doing random things. So I'll just throw a Scaligro on the bedside table on this side. And let's see, let's put the birdie bots over by the flowers. Oh, no, it isn't going to fit, so it'll go next to the Scaligro. I could probably pull off the flowers, but I don't really feel like it. There we go. And then we've got a couple these little doohickeys, doodads, with the crazy shapes, right? The collector tiles. And I'll just put them up in here. And then we've got our little characters. 1, 2, 3. Oops. Put that in there. Errol, stop falling over. He's down on the end of the bed. Harry. And Madame Pomfrey. There we go. So aside from the sticker sheet being missed, that's as good as she gets. So let's just pop. What's it here? Ooh, this part. There it is, all complete. And it took us just shy, well, 2 hours and 40 minutes, although that did include a little bit of goofing around and hair elastics and stuff. Yeah. So that's this one. I actually quite like it. I'm just going to pause for one split sec, and let's put this piece back together, sort of. Come on, Kurt. So I can just enough that I can get it off to the side, please. Thank you. All right. So I'm not going to start a new one tonight, but where'd the box go? So I've got this one is a possibility. So we've got Courtyard Serious Rescue, which is the next part of the story. And the other one, quite a bit larger. And let me just hide the instructions. Okay. And the other one, which you still can't really see all that well, it's right up through Harry's face, but yeah. So we've got 12 Grimmauld Place. So that's the one where the houses come together and split apart, and they actually have a nice mechanic for doing that as well. But I'm going to take a break or two before we ever dig into that sort of thing, and hopefully I'll get to at least one of the other two before Christmas. That said, it is time to find somebody who would like a couple of viewers and see who's still live. We have a lot of people that are actually prepping for Thanksgiving, so the usuals are not all around. Let's see, Minecraft. We were just doing Legos, so I think I'm going to drop in on the local brick shop. So let's head ourselves over there now. I'm going to have to see if I can remember how to spell this, because I haven't actually had to manually raid for quite some time. So give me a quick second to head over to the ending screen, and we'll get the raid going. Raids. Raid. Locale. Brick. Oh. Oops. I spelled that as well as Fantastic Sherlock Fox did earlier on. A local brick shop. See if I got that right. Yep. So he's got a Just Chatting stream, and he's got one where he says, Happy American Thanksgiving Eve. Let's eat some spicy nuggies. So we're going to head over there. No problem. So thank you everybody for coming in. And thanks to... put a D in there. Exactly. Thank you very much to all the chatters from the Owls to Lyric and Benson to Springpurse briefly dropping by. Very, very brief. To Fantastic Sherlock Fox. And you can see a couple others. We're also to Scotch Tape, who was here. We had Nutric that we saw this morning. And Firepower was able to drop by today. So thanks to everybody that was here. And feel free to copy paste the raid message if that's your cup of tea. If you've got the sub, feel free to use the hype sheep. And otherwise you can use the raid pickaxe. And please do give the local brick shop all our best. So thank you to everyone. Have yourselves a great evening. Bye-bye for now.
Transfer complete.